Hello! Today I'm here with my friend Jody. We are going to Dallas to the Titanic exhibit, which I have heard is very good, but there's not actual artifacts from the Titanic. So we'll see how good it is. This is like the last week or two that it's going to be here, so we'll see if it's any good, but we are about to head off to Dallas. So it's about a 2-hour drive, so that should be fun. So we'll see when we get there. So we made it. Kind of looks like this is in an old movie theater. So obviously this isn't a permanent exhibit. So, but it'll be interesting to see how they have this set up, because we drove around the back side of this building. We're like, where the heck is this? It looks like a strip mall, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. So we are heading in now.
Baby opinions and adult opinions afterwards.
She's handing out boarding passes.
Hello, hello. It helps if I have the phone the right way. Like, why is my screen blocked? Okay, 1 and 2. Yep. Perfect. All right, we've got 1 and 2. Oh no, I'm not. No, okay.
So we have our boarding pass. You can take a green screen photo of the bow. And then you enter into the exhibit through these doors right here. So what's on our boarding pass? It says RMS Titanic, Southampton, 10 April 1912. Oh, I am Amy Zila Elsie Stanley. Who are you? I'm 22 and I'm a seamstress from New York. Elizabeth Dowdle was my cabin mate, and I'm 3rd class. I am steerage.
I'm Margaret Brown. I'm 44. But I'm class 1.
Oh, you're 1st class, man. She got 1st class. I'm steerage and she's 1st class.
We can switch if you'd like.
It's okay. E32. A self-educated, quick-thinking woman who was shunned by Denver society as an uncultured, nouveau, rich woman, Margaret Brown. It wasn't this the unsinkable Margaret Brown?
Maybe.
A great sense of humor. She was reading well when Titanic and iceberg struck an iceberg, and was so absorbed in her book she gave little thought to the accident. I'm pretty sure Margaret Brown was like who Kathy Bates played in the movie.
Oh, she was.
Yeah. So she's Margaret Brown, and I'm Amy Zila Elsie Stanley. My boarding pass. Waiting to go inside.
This is not the movie, you know. This is the actual what happened.
I know, but it's still like,
Alright, everyone.
if the movie wouldn't have come out, nobody would have.
Okay, you gotta be quiet this whole time, okay? No talking.
That's why they made a movie, because it was already.
Photography encouraged. That's good.
Alright, you guys. Welcome aboard Titanictheexhibition. We're going to watch a short little video with some information about the Titanic. And then these double doors are going to open automatically. They will also close automatically, so make sure you are as far into the room as we can go. That way nobody gets left behind because of the door closing, right? Alright. That being said, once the doors are closed, we ask that you do not pull on them to open them, because that can damage our motor. If you do have to make an exit for any reason, there are emergency exits along the way. Try not to have an emergency though. We've only planned for 1, but we're going to see it ahead of time this time. So we've got our binoculars, right? Okay. You can take as many photos and videos as you like. We just ask that your flash is turned off because flash can damage some of the artifacts. No food or drink inside the exhibit, and if you have chewing gum, we ask that you spit it out in this trash can before going inside, or just promise you won't put it on anything inside the exhibit, because I've had to clean 7 of those just this week. So that's a new announcement we have to make.
Oh my gosh. Don't put your gum on the artifacts.
Yes. Awesome. Did anybody get a 3rd class boarding pass? 3rd class.
Me.
Boarding
I
pass?
only got 2nd class.
You got 2nd class? That's good. 3rd class?
3rd class. I'm pretty much gonna die.
Do you know how to swim?
Yes.
I know how to swim.
Good, you'll have to teach them because this, you know, might have to. I don't know. Anyway, you guys, enjoy the video, enjoy the exhibition, have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
This is the story of the most famous ship from history, and perhaps too the most infamous. This is the very real story of 2,224 souls. A story where history and mystery converge and expand. Commissioned by the famous White Star Line, Titanic was one of 3 Olympic-class liners, originally to be named Olympic, Titanic, and Gigantic, later changed to Britannic. These 3, sometimes referred to as sister ships, were practically identical, with just a few interior details changed. As you go through this experience, you will see many references to the White Star Line, or WSL, as all ships were outfitted to promote this name rather than their individual ships. When completed, Titanic was not only the largest ship in the world, but also the largest moving object ever built by humankind. While smaller than today's largest cruise ships, she was a modern marvel at almost 1,000 feet long. Building on centuries of experience, incredible engineering and craftsmanship, Titanic was designed without the means of computers and 3D design software, and fashioned to last a lifetime. Built in Belfast, Ireland, it took 3 years and over 30,000 workers to assemble the ship and make her ready for her maiden voyage on April 10th, 1912. She set sail from Southampton, England, where most passengers had boarded. Then she picked up a few more in Cherbourg, northern France, and then more in Queenstown, now Cove, Southern Ireland. Finally, she headed out across the Atlantic Ocean to New York, a distance of 3,155 nautical miles. But of course, Titanic never made it. On April 14th, 4 days into her journey, she struck an iceberg in the middle of the ocean and sank. From the time she struck the iceberg to the time she sank beneath the surface of the ocean, only 2 hours and 40 minutes had elapsed. More than 1,500 people lost their lives that night. But the events of that dark, moonless night have exerted a pull on our imaginations unlike any other. For over 100 years, we have been both fascinated and haunted by the story. Now we are here to experience and remember this incredible journey filled with hopes and dreams of the passengers and crew, and the disaster that touched our lives forever. She is the most famous ship in history. This is the story of the designers and builders who created her. This is the story of the passengers and crew. This is the story of Titanic.
Some postcards. It's kind of a fake setup. Tea with the White Star Line dishes. Bruce Ismay is the chairman of the White Star Line. William James Peary, chairman. Last slide of Captain Smith. Go around the corner to the next room. Some projections. Olympic and Titanic. Some of the specs of the ship. This light is flickering. Some projections on the walls. I think that one's an actual picture though. So I guess there is some artifacts in here. Floor tiles. Either that or they're duplicates.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Examples have been raised from the Titanic wreck. Some postcards.
Check this out.
An example of what the anchor looked like. Olympic bronze ceiling swag used in first class corridors. White Star Line's Britannic carved wood floral molding. So they're not specifically from Titanic, but the same finishings and things that they had used in the different classes.
See this here.
Thomas Andrews, Mr. Andrews was one of the key figures. I can't remember who the actor was that played him in the movie, but I really like that guy as an actor. But he was kind of the one that had told all of them that Titanic was going to sink. Was born into a well-connected family in Comber Island. Thomas Andrews was the nephew of Harland and Wolff partner-owned Lord Peary. He joined as an apprentice in 1889. At age 16, by 39, was managing director of H&W, the head of the company's drafting department, and therefore Titanic's architect. Andrews was on board the Titanic with his blueprints and the 9-man design team to fully inspect her and recommend cosmetic changes. Proud of the grand ship, he told a friend that Titanic was as nearly perfect as human brains can make her. Andrews was last seen on Titanic as Titanic was sinking, standing in the first-class smoking room, gazing at a painting above the fireplace called Plymouth Harbor, which Titanic was scheduled to visit after her first voyage to New York. Andrews' body was never found. There's a couple movie clips of them building, design and execution. Different types of tools that they'd used. So these are real photo postcards of it being built. We have different signs here. They talk about the different processes of building. It's pretty dark in here. It's pretty low light, so hopefully this comes out okay. Gold pocket watch given to Harland and Wolff employee upon his retirement who worked on the Titanic. combined of turbine and reciprocating engine. It's a uniform, white Star Line uniform, brass uniform buttons. To walk down the hallway. See, I'm in 3rd class, so I don't get a nice hallway like this, but you do. I'm 3rd class, so I don't get a nice hallway, but she's 1st class, so. First class reading, specifically a 3rd class salt dish. I went to a Titanic exhibit when I was a teenager, and I remember seeing all the white Star Line stuff. I still have some keychains from that visit, actually, which is what inspired me to want to come see this one to see how different it would be. It's been a long time. I've always been really interested in the Titanic. This is 1st class dishes. You can kind of see the difference between basic and luxury. What a ship, so huge and magnificently appointed. Our rooms are furnished in the best of taste and most luxuriously, and they are really rooms, not cabins. So this is an example of a 1st class room. Pretty nice. Now, if this is the door that Jack and Rose tried to fit on, they definitely both could not have fit on the door. Just saying.
So while you're on
It's not very wide. That does not accommodate big booties.
which one was it?
No, I feel like this is where the boob light originated. And now we've downgraded to what we have today. This is a much nicer version. Silver covered serving dish. So these are all silver pitchers, and they had the pots and pans over in the other case. So this says that there was an a la carte restaurant, which is an alternate to 1st class dining. So as opposed to doing the main dining room, you can go and get your a la carte, maybe go to the buffet. Located on deck B, accommodated 140 diners at 50 round and square tables. Passengers were able to dine on the ship at any time between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m., whereas dining in the 1st class dining room was restricted to set meal times. So it's kind of like going to the buffet. The a la carte restaurant employed the prestigious staff and managers from Odanito's Imperial Restaurant of London. On the night of April 14th, hours before Titanic's fatal collision with an iceberg, a dinner was held in honor of Captain Smith. Interesting. Here's some more dishes, 1st class dishes. Some more silver. Now, I think a lot of this stuff probably came off of the Olympic, because it was said that they were essentially identical, which it was really the Olympic that sank and it wasn't the actual Titanic, because they said that Titanic was the unsinkable ship. And there were some bigwigs on board that ultimately died. So there's a whole, I mean, that's just up for speculation. You can decide what's true and what's not, but so it's said. Some matchboxes, those are pretty cool. Margaret Brown, that's the card that Jody has. And then John Jacob Astor was a big guy too. Extremely wealthy businessman, inventor and writer. He was the one that was saying that, actually no, that's not true. I was thinking he was the one that was saying that it was unsinkable. That's not true. Built the Astoria Hotel, part of the Waldorf Astoria. Benjamin Guggenheim, I remember him. Lady Duff Gordon. I remember them being mentioned in the movie too. It's a White Star Line Olympic Grand Staircase post column. This was third class life. So this is where I would live because I'm third class steerage. They used to get a little bit more room in an interior cabin these days.
I would have saved you, don't worry.
You would have saved me? You would have come down from first class?
I would have.
No.
I would have got a life jacket first. One for both of us.
Pretty hardcore. Imagine the water rushing in from under there. So this is what the boiler rooms look like with their coal and having to shovel them into the fire. 150 men worked in shifts of 24 hours per day to power the Titanic. The trimmers gathered the coal from bunkers, ensuring the ship did not list or roll with a shifting weight by trimming the supply. The coal is the power source. Because of the coal miners' strike in England, White Star Line canceled the Atlantic crossings of 6 other ships to reserve their coal stores for Titanic. That's interesting. On the deck now, the promenade deck. Look at all those stars. Oh, look at the water down there. So iceberg warning at 9 a.m. 1:42 iceberg warning. 1:45 iceberg warning. 9:30 p.m. iceberg warning. 10:55 iceberg warning. According to the wireless transmissions received in the early morning hours of April 15, 1912, Titanic, ignoring all warnings of ice in the imminent area, collided with an iceberg at these coordinates. Iceberg right ahead. The piece of the warning light and the binoculars that they used. Jody's sitting in a lifeboat. You got in the lifeboat.
I got in a lifeboat.
You made it because you're first class.
Oh boy.
I'm dead.
I told you, I think.
I'm dead. Postcard pictures of them. Those are the sides of the lifeboats. They have some benches you can sit in. There's our iceberg. Iceberg.
The iceberg is cold.
I bet. Touch the iceberg. 0 degrees Celsius. Water in the North Atlantic on April 15th was reported to be 2 degrees colder than this iceberg. Due to the ocean water's salt content, the ocean remained liquid even at 2 degrees below freezing temperatures. Imagine.
It was.
That would be very cold. It definitely would not last long if it was 2 degrees colder than this. Everybody's put their hands in these holes. There was more lifeboats than the regulations required. Maximum lifeboat capacity was 1,178. Only 710 survived. So they could have saved essentially a third of people, but only 710 made it out of the 3,547. So the top is all the lost crew. The bottom is the saved. Well, on all the passengers. So third class saved, second, first, and then these were all the ones that were lost on top. So I'm a third class. So my last name was Stanley. Did I live? Let's see, Stanley. I lived. Look at me. Amy, Zila, Elsie, Stanley. I lived. Look at me go. And then Jody was Margaret Brown. We already know that she lived.
Oh no, I did not.
She was
I did not.
I made it.
Okay. Sorry, I was looking.
Brown, Margaret. And that was Jody's person. That really puts it into perspective though. It's a white Star Line flag. Lady over there. I died. So I was wrong. I lived. 316 women, 338 men, 56 children. 3 out of every 4 immigrant passengers perished. It shows how deep the ships were that sank. Titanic. Depths of the ocean. She's really down there. 12,500 feet. The other part of the hull, after the ship. Crazy to think it still goes deeper than that. So it's not the deepest ship that's ever sank. USS America. The USS Johnson is the deepest ship. It's pretty crazy. Stuff from the expedition. To actually go down and see the ship itself. This is talking about how Texas is related to the shipping industry and cruising and the port of Galveston and connections to Texas. Here's some replicas of the plates that they actually used in the movie. So these are actually movie props. Life jackets from the movies. Keys. Jacket. Some more costumes. The wig. Small outfit. Jane, these costumes were used in the Titanic sinking scene. They were worn by dummies. The lady was a third-class passenger. The male was a stoker. Clothing is tattered and torn due to being ripped by floating debris during the sinking. And then at the end, there is a gift shop. Titanic. RMS Titanic. Hats. This is a cool pocket watch. That's neat. Spoons. Oh, you can get a snow globe with Rose and Jack. It's kind of a cool shirt, but I don't like that it's yellow. It's a different color, maybe. Queen of the Ocean. White Star Line. Titanic shirt, White Star Line stuff. A sweatshirt. Anything on the back? Oh, it does. It's kind of cool. Spoons. It's White Star Line something or another. It's just a tin. But they have pins. I decided to start collecting pins. I think I might get that. I don't know where it came from. But that's cute. I'd have to add that to my pin board. Jewelry. A watch. Shirt, more shirt. It's kind of the same things. Oh, you can pick up your pictures. Mugs, bottle openers, a whistle. I guess the pictures are $25 if you want to have any pictures taken. So fun fact, when this movie came out in 1997, I believe, we lived down the street from a movie theater, and my sister and I walked down to the movie theater. My other camera died, so we're on the iPhone now. But we went and saw the movie in the theater 7 times. So Titanic is near and dear to my heart. Because I think it was only like $2.50 or something, $3 for us to go to the movie theater. So it was something that we enjoyed doing because we just really love the movie. So I've seen it a lot of times. But here's another shirt on the back. I like that yellow one, but I don't think I would ever wear it. I'll show you some more stuff if I find something cool. This shirt is $35, so it's not terrible. They said that there was some sales stuff over there. Pretty much the same, $35. Sweatshirts are $65 for that sweatshirt. So it's kind of a lot. I like this pin. I don't know how much it costs though, so we'll see. These are little wine charms, wine glass charms. DA Downton Abbey. I like Downton Abbey stuff. It's like Downton Abbey. I don't know why. This is all Downton Abbey stuff too. 75% off. Maybe they had a Downton Abbey thing previous to this and they had leftover merch. That's funny that the bear actually looks like the captain. Candies and mints. This chocolate bar, mug, hat. Nothing that's screaming by me. Oh, I found the pins. Here's the pins that I found. Titanic. Nothing crazy. I kind of like the keychain that we got at the last exhibit that we went to. Titanic bags. I think I might get the pin though. That's the only thing that's really striking my fancy other than that yellow shirt. Looks like, oh, there's some magnets. Oh, I like the magnet. That's cool. $10. That's not bad. Titanic exhibition. I might get the magnet too.
We accepted the pass.
We did?
Yes.
$10. Stamps. Those are kind of cool. Bottle openers. It's nice. You can buy a Heart of the Ocean for $46. I swear I'm going to find the one that I have and try to show you. But I think it looks a little bit better quality than that. It's very similar though, if not the same. But I've had it forever. This is a pencil case. Has a couple pencils in it. This, I don't know what this is. Some kind of a snack. I'm not sure. But yeah, there's some cool stuff, but I'm gonna get a magnet. I'm gonna get this magnet. It's $10. And then this pin is $8 to go on my pin board. So that's nice. Gift shop. It looks like you can do virtual reality, so I don't know if that's an upcharge for your tickets. But, and then you can have an audio guided tour if you wanted to do that also. So pretty neat. Okay, we just got out of the exhibit, as you can see. What do we think? What's your take on it?
Are we doing 0 out of 10?
Sure.
I would give it a solid 6.
Yeah. Maybe a 5. I mean, like, it's not bad, but they really didn't have, like, they had things from other ships, it seemed like, oh, they used this on the Olympic, which was like the sister ship. Yep. So they didn't actually have anything recovered from the Titanic. But it was cool information, and they had some movie stuff. I liked the scene replicas, like the stairwell and the hallway and stuff like that was probably like the coolest. But I don't know, how much were the tickets? Like,
I think I paid
30
$70 for both.
It's like $35 a person, so I mean, some of the merch was cool. Nothing that was like, I have to have it. I got that pin in the magnet, but it's still fun if you really like the Titanic. Could be worse. So you heard it here first. It would have been fun to be a little bit more interactive to your person, because so it turns out I did not die on the Titanic according to my boarding pass. Is that what they called it?
Yeah.
Your ticket?
Boarding pass, yep.
But neither of us died, so that was good. But it would have been fun to have a little bit more interaction with that, which I don't know how they would really know exactly where that person was. Either you lived or you died. But maybe what your room number was. Well, actually, I think it did say what your room number was.
It did.
But anywho, so that only took us about, what time is it now? 3:48, and it was like 2:30, so a little over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Hour 20. We both lived.
Accomplished it.
So now what do we want to do?
I don't know.
We're in North Dallas, so the world is our oyster.
Yep.
So we'll figure out what we want to do before we head south again. Okay, we've been sitting in the car for like 10 minutes.
Yep.
And we've been talking about the exhibit and what we think. And what's your new rating?
I give it a solid 4 out of 10. Mm-hmm. They could have done better.
Well, true, it did not have any true artifacts. They had some things that the White Star Line used, but not from specifically the Titanic. But I think if you're not going to actually have the artifacts, you need to have something more immersive. I think the most impactful thing was probably the piece of ice.
That was nice.
Because they were talking about how the water was actually 2 degrees colder than how the ice felt. So at least you could grasp what it was like.
They could have done it a different way too. It just wasn't as special.
I think if they incorporated more like science in it to make you feel like you were there, then you could, I don't know.
You think they need to do something better or lower the price, but something's just not ringing right there.
Yeah. Something was missing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it was still fun. I still like the Titanic.
Yep.
Makes me kind of want to go home and watch it, which I might.
That would be fun.
I shared a fun fact when I was in, I guess it was, well, 1997. Whatever, I think, is that when that came out? Or was it 95?
95.
Okay, so 1995, so I was wrong. We lived up in Oak Harbor at the time, and there was a movie theater down the street from where we lived, and for the whole duration of time that Titanic was in the movie theater, every weekend my sister and I would scrounge up the change and we would go see it every Saturday. So I've seen it like 7 times in the movie theater.
You should be able to repeat that word for word.
You would think. But that was fun. And I'm thankful that my mom allowed us to do crazy things like that instead of saying that's a waste of money, you already saw it, you don't need to see it again. Sometimes you need to see it 7 times in the theater, but it only costs like $2.50 or $3 to go.
Back in the day. When
Yeah,
it was
in
cheaper.
1995. So, yeah,
Yeah.
not now if it was 10,
$13.
right? Never be like, no, we can't even afford to go one time.
$13 easy.
So, anywho, all right, we're going to head back south now because it's a 2-hour drive, and hopefully there won't be too much traffic. I mean, it is a Sunday, so there shouldn't be rush hour.
4 o'clock going south on a Sunday. Wish us luck.
All right, till next time.